First of all, the marketing and sales landscape is really a jungle. You have on the bulk there, the big almost paragraph that you're looking, you have awareness content, strategic partnerships, social media. Even within social media, then you could break it down to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Up there's telemarketing, collateral, direct mail. All these things are potential places where you could invest dollars. Moving down, you get into email campaigns, webinars, workshops, things like that. And then at the bottom of the list there, you get into sales things, sales process, inside sales, key account management. This is the landscape of the options that you have for marketing. And just about every client and prospect that I talk to that looks at this says, yeah, I can see why I'm overwhelmed. There's just so much to be looking at and thinking about, and it's very hard to decide where to put your attention. You have the, in the vertical text on either side of all those things, you have the functions that you need to manage, CRM to manage sales, and marketing automation to manage the marketing activities. And then, of course, the planning and management functions on the right. Strategy stuff is up above with targets, value, offerings, and positioning. Sometimes I talk to people and they're about to put money into a PR campaign, and really where their money needs to go is toward targeting or understanding their value or their offerings. So really everything on this page is a potential for investing your time and energy. So given that overwhelming amount of possibility, how do we start to take that apart and say, where can we start? How can we make a decision that feels like it's right for starting to get into all of this jungle and starting to use these things to our advantage instead of being overwhelmed by them? Because we know we need to do something in marketing, but we're just not sure what it is. And I have found that this funnel is very helpful as we then try to evaluate the options. So I'm going to show you a few slides here and show you how it applies. If you're not familiar with it, a general decision-making or purchase process goes through several steps. First, you're unaware that you want to buy something or unaware of the options. Then you become aware that you have a problem or something that you want to buy, and you become aware of what the choices are in addressing that purchase that you want to make. But you're only at that point aware. You're not really kind of doing much about it. And then it rises in importance, and so it becomes something that you're interested in. You might go online and do some research or start to get into that decision. And then after you've learned some about it, now you have a desire to actually address the issue. And then you make a commitment, okay, I don't just want to, I'm actually going to, and then you make the purchase. You can go through this very quickly if you're standing in the line of a checkout counter in a grocery store and decide that you want to buy something that they have dangled in front of you there while you're checking out, or it can be a more elaborate and long process if you're thinking about moving to a new house or buying a new car. But a decision goes through this process all the time. And so our job in marketing and sales is to move to both push in a supportive way and to react to prospects who are moving through this funnel. So there's a few things about this funnel. First of all, you can divide it in half, and really, ideally, you would be handling the top part of the funnel with marketing. And marketing is one-to-many activities. So I'm going to write a blog post once, and then I'm going to post it online, and 20 people are going to see it, or 200 people are going to see it, or 2,000 people are going to see it. But marketing is really about one-to-many. Many stage 2 companies, so in startup, you really don't have much marketing generally. And many stage 2 companies are still trying to handle the whole funnel with labor, with their salespeople calling up, cold calling people and doing things like that. That is a very inefficient way, and you just can't afford to do that in today's environment. So with marketing, you want to do one-to-many, and the point of that is about educating. People don't know what their problem is, and you just want to educate them about what their problem is. You don't want to be selling at that point. Ideally, your sales team would only deal with people who have crossed over the line from being interested to having a desire to do something. If you show this to a salesperson and say, from now on, you're only going to have to deal with people that already have a desire to buy from us, they would be in heaven. Right? They love this idea that they would be only dealing with people that are kind of ready to buy, and that is the opportunity. Is that marketing creates these qualified, interested leads, and then sales can follow up. They're much more efficient and much more effective. Sales then is a one-to-one activity, and the primary activity within that is listening. At this point, the customer is educated. They should know if they've come down the funnel because of things that you've done. They should know what you're offering, how you offer it. Now it's just about being present with them and understanding their needs and responding to them. So that's a very useful background, but we have to figure out how do we apply this funnel to all those things that we could spend money on. And I think the key to that is the numbers on the left-hand side of the funnel here. So if you are, when I talk to people, almost universally, down at the bottom of the funnel, when they're doing proposals, they usually have somewhere between a 30% and an 80% success rate with their proposals. So I just put 50%, but depending on how tightly you manage what proposals you write and what quotations you put out, it's usually between 30 and 80%. So a ballpark is 50% of the time you're successful in your proposals. In the middle of the funnel, for those of you who have email campaigns, you'll know that usually the open rate of an email campaign is somewhere between 10 and 30%, kind of approximately 20%. So in the middle of the funnel, your success rate is around 20%. And then we're all pretty familiar with direct mail response rates, Facebook click rates, things like that, usually between 1% and 3%. So I put around 2%. So if you have not been actively managing your marketing and sales funnel, the place to start is at the bottom of the funnel, where you're going to have the highest hit rate. Because if I can improve the sales that I'm doing, I can move something. It's going to have an impact on 50% and a high probability activity that I'm doing. Once my sales is optimized, then I want to move to the middle of the funnel, which are things like it's basically communicating with people that already know you and already like you. So it's getting an email list, creating an ongoing newsletter educational campaign for that email list, having some webinars, workshops, ways that people already know you can take a step in and get to know you better and learn about the kinds of things that the kinds of issues they may have in their business and the kinds of help that you can provide. Only after you've done sales optimization there and middle of the funnel activity, only after you've got all that done, then you should look at top of the funnel stuff. You could think about social media, you can do more outreach. Now, all of my clients go to trade shows and do some kind of thing at the top of the funnel already, but usually they're worried that that's not enough or they should be doing more or whatever. This funnel says, don't worry about that. Just release all of that. There's probably much more impactful things that you can do that are closer to the sale that you're making and the people that you already know. So that doesn't completely solve. So do I do an email campaign or a webinar? Do I invest in key account management or sales behaviors, sales training? But it takes the top of the funnel is where the most options of spending your money are, and it largely takes that off the table. And I've found that when I talk to stage 2 leaders, they're able to pretty quickly know how they would spend their money in the bottom or the middle of the funnel. It's the top of the funnel that really confuses them. And so by taking the top, here's a good rationale for taking the top of the funnel out of the equation, and then focus on the areas that you know that that can drive your business.